wholesale inflation measure was unchanged in June. The data suggests that President Donald Trump's tariffs are indicating only a marginal bite on the U.S. economy. How did the markets respond to that data? Well, we're still moving sideways on the S&P 500. Look at it with your own eyes. After a period of consolidation and 2 weeks straight up, you can see that the last 2 weeks, we have basically traded sideways, with the market giving us these two dojis over the last couple weeks. Now, it's not until we break out of this candle that we are going to get some direction. If we get above 625.40, we will continue higher to 630. And if we cross beneath 617.30, the markets are going to begin to retreat. This is the Stocks with Josh show. I've got a couple large cap stocks, one of which is reporting earnings this week to go over with you. The other one is slowly working on a turnaround story. I'm going to take you into those two large cap stocks and a couple small cap plays. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for dropping a heart. Smash the like, hit the subscribe if you need help trading these choppy markets and you need help to learn the charts, as well as to keep your eye on the next hot play. In regards to hot plays, yesterday's video, I talked about a small cap stock, a penny stock, super high risk, low float. This thing not too long ago was only 5 cents, but in recent days, it's come very close to 50 cents. Let me take you into that chart. We're talking about IXHL again today. Let's go look at it. When we did this video yesterday, it had had this nice move up. One of my crown traders, stock brother, had made $52,000 on this move right here. But in that video, I said this move wasn't quite over yet, and I called it out as a buy at 32 cents, and this thing shot up another 50%, pushing all the way up to 0.4821, right underneath 50 cents. In that previous video, I had said that it could easily come back to around 52 cents, and that's where it would potentially backtest this 20-day moving average on the weekly time frame chart. I'm going to say that IXHL is still in play, but I want to warn anybody who's messing with these small cap, low float stocks that you have to have a strategy that includes a stop loss, because when this thing wants to fall, just like it went up 50% in 24 hours, it can drop 50% in 24 hours. So if you put in 10K, it drops the very next day. Now you've lost $5,000. And so this is the type of play that you need to be sitting there watching every single 1 minute candle. And when you make some money, you want to snatch it and run to the bank and never look back. I still think that this play has got a little room higher, but it's ultra dangerous. Now, I'm going to go over a couple large cap companies, and I'm going to give you one more small cap at the end of this video. Make sure you stay till the end. All right, guys, let's jump into it. What are we going to talk about first? We're going to talk about Netflix is reporting earnings this Thursday. I'm going to take you through what the analysts think. I'm going to give you the overall big picture view of how the stock has been performing so far in 2025. And then I'm going to give you my opinion of the charts, and that will tell a story entirely of its own. First off, the earnings are Thursday, and analysts' expectations of Q2 earnings here in 2025 are quite robust. They have very positive expectations for this company, which has absolutely been crushing it. And I'll just start off this conversation about Netflix with the question, is it been priced to perfection? Can Netflix rise to the high expectation of the analysts for this quarter? That's the big question. They're expecting earnings growth of 45% year over year. They're expecting a 15.8% jump in revenue when compared to the prior year period. 2025 has been a very good year for Netflix. You guys know the basic story that began in 2024 as they were going to basically go after people who were not paying for Netflix services, but were spreading their username and passwords to all their family and friends. They've successfully gone after those folks, and they brought in some revenue and increased their profit margins, getting people off those free accounts. But this thing is already up 42% year to date, and about 50% in the past 6 months. And so the shareholders have been richly rewarded for their success. And so the big question is, what is it going to take to get Netflix higher? Well, 34 out of 49 analysts covering Netflix have rated it a strong buy or just a buy. Wedbush Securities is calling the stock price up to $1,400, which means there's a ton of room for this to go higher. Bank of America is calling it up to $1,490, just under $1,500. BMO Capital Markets is saying that it's got an outperform rating and it's going to get to $1,425. And Jefferies has a buy rating and a price target of $1,400. And so The market has a lot of bullish expectation. The question is it too much, and are they going to disappoint? A lot is riding on this earnings. If they crush it, then this thing is going to continue higher all the way through 2025 up to those high marks of $1,400 and $1,500. But, and I'm going to take you into the charts because the charts have a lean right now. What does that mean? It means the charts are already showing us the smart money's bias. Even though analysts are calling it up, the fact is there's been some pretty significant profit taking after it recently hit the high price of $13.30, which was one of my predictions on this show. It's been steadily pulling back. What do the charts tell us about the positioning of smart money before we get into these earnings? Let's go look at the charts. All right, the very first thing I want you guys to look at is what an incredible climb that this thing has had since May of 2022. It really didn't even participate in the April fall off of the rest of big tech. It's just been stair-stepping higher and higher and higher, steadily rocking on that 20-day moving average, rarely pulling back just to make another leg higher. So you got to know that I love Netflix stock. It's a great performer overall. But what do the charts tell us right now about what to expect going into these earnings? Well, let's identify some very important price points, and then we're going to look at the momentum indicators. So right now, the only way that this goes bullish when you take a big step back to the current price action is it has to get back above 1275. So if after earnings we're back above 1275, it means that the move higher continues. But this has pulled off quite a bit from the recent highs of around 1340. It's pulled back to this 1240. The true area that it would be ideal to go long again is what is this clear and obvious potential bearish head and shoulders pattern with a neckline at around 1180, which would also bring it back in line with this 20-day moving average on the weekly time frame. So if this pulls back under 1240, then the area of support that I'd be looking to buy long again would be right around and beneath this 1180. Let's take a quick peek at the momentum indicators and how those are appearing right now. Well, when you look at that from the weekly time frame, you can see that we have a very dangerous potential cross down on the MACD below the signal line, which would open up the door for a much bigger downturn. In addition to that, if you run over to the daily time frame, you see that we are dangerously sitting on the 50% mark, the territory between the bulls and the bears. And if this thing falls below the 50% mark on the RSI, it's going to suggest retreat. Now, the last thing regarding Netflix that I looked at before making this video was what is the unusual options activity look like? And to do that, I used the options calculator in the Stocks with Josh Discord. This is a custom-built tool that I've put together which highlights the unusual options activity as well as gives you a complete overview of how bearish or bullish the play that you're thinking about getting into actually is. What's the momentum? What are the big bets on this? And anytime you take any form of a mid to long-term options play, you want to take a quick peek at what the Stocks with Josh options calculator is telling you, because it gives you a big picture view about how smart money is positioning themselves in this play. So currently, the largest trade in the short term for Netflix is a $15.1 million bullish call expiring on Friday. But the overall positioning of institutional investors are actually favoring put options with 2.1 more money in puts than in calls in the short term. So the question is, Josh, do you think the smart money doesn't have faith in Netflix beating earnings and moving higher? Absolutely not. The large bullish position of $14 million in short-term calls suggests more of the direction, and the overall larger position of money in puts reflects hedging or insurance or the protection of the huge profits that have been made. So basically, they just bought some insurance because if it doesn't go the way they hope it will go, they want to protect their overall position. And so overall, I'm very bullish on Netflix, but I'm not going to carry call positions through earnings. I'm going to be looking for a pullback and an opportunity to buy some more. My big picture view of Netflix is if they don't crush it or if they give good earnings, but the market simply sells into strength, I'm going to view it as an opportunity to go long again. And I really, really like that $1,200 level, because if we get that pullback, I could see this hitting $1,400 to $1,500. Okay, there's your Netflix. Let's take a quick peek at Tesla. I want to give you guys an update of what I see happening with them. I have mentioned in the past, obviously, when it was right below 360, I said we're not going higher. We're absolutely capitulating. We did that. We came all the way down to right below 290. And I said, guys, let me warn you, the likelihood is that we are going to build from here and not take the next leg down. Tesla does a lot of wild swings. It's a highly speculative trade asset. And I said, we are actually not going to flush from here down to 250. We're going to go back up to right around 324. Let's go look at that chart because I want you guys to see where we can go over the next 60 days. All right, we're looking at Tesla on the daily time frame right here. I warned that we were not going higher. Absolutely not. We were going to be going lower and that likely we would hit under $300. We got as low as around 288. And I said, guys, we are not going lower right now. We're actually going to go back up to 324. And we are sitting today, we're sitting here at a close of 323 and 50 cents. So I'm going to say that that is an absolute confirmed move. But here's what I really want you guys to be looking out for is the 4-hour time frame, because I see a pattern forming there that could be even more bullish, but we have to wait and see it play out. So what is that pattern? Well, it's an inverse head and shoulders pattern and with a neckline at 324. So absolutely 324 is the most important price on this chart. And you can see that we have had one left shoulder, the head, and now we've come back and created a potential right shoulder. And if we break above 324 with a surge of volume down here, you always have to be keeping your eye out for the volume. It gives you a perspective of where this could go. And where is that? Well, let's get a descending line of resistance along our top two tops. And it tells me based on more than two things. So first, it tells me based on this descending line of resistance that we could be heading for 345. But in addition to that, when you look at this inverse head and shoulders pattern, you take the position from the neckline down to the head and you move that to your potential breakout price. And yet again, that also confirms that this potential target of around 344 to 346 is an area where it can go. So I know that for some, you hear it's bearish and Elon's doing everything wrong and he's fighting with the president and it's just stock prices going lower and lower. Then out of nowhere, it starts to turn around. Guys, I follow the technicals, right? And I've been giving you an accurate view of the technicals all along the way. And I warned the bears not to get too bearish and to turn into hogs. And now I'm going to tell you that I can't say for sure that it's going up to 346. Being at 324 was the prediction and that we hit. Now we have to see what happens. We got to watch price action and volume. If we get a surge above 324 on high volume, then my conviction that we're going to go up to 346 is going to be quite high, and it's going to be a trap for the bears. They're getting absolutely slaughtered right now because they got too bearish, and they have to close up their positions the higher this thing climbs. And then after we get up to 346, I really don't expect, apart from any major catalyst or new technology breakthrough, I really don't expect it for it to continue to climb after that. I believe that we could then go all the way from 346 down to that 280 again. This thing is going to be volatile. That's why Tesla's called Stressla, because it's a wild bucking bull. So there's your Tesla update. I'm going to quickly cover one more small cap stock, and these are ones you want to be paying attention to. This is one that I got from Stock Up with Larry Jones, and we were chatting about it today, and I wanted to share the opportunity with you guys and give you a quick view of the charts as to where the most ideal entry could possibly be. This is one that might be worth putting on your watch list. It's been a season where small caps have been paying big and having huge moves, and so it's still worth watching these small caps right now. Let me introduce you to a company called USAR. This is a rare earth minerals company, and you guys have heard a lot about how America is behind the black ball when it comes to being short on rare earth materials. This stock moved in sympathy with a company called MP Materials that got a deal with Apple. Rare earth shares advanced following Apple deal. They agreed to a long-term deal to supply Apple with rare earth magnets manufactured in the U.S. using recycled materials. And so this caused MP to pop, and it also caused USAR to have a nice move. So now the question is Is the move over? Well, before I get into that, let me share one more analyst view of USAR. They said, buy this stock. The analysts say the U.S. needs rare earth magnets. And so it's worth putting on your radar because the story is hot right now. But what do the charts say? Let's go look at those. We're looking at the daily time frame chart for USAR. And the first thing I want to point out to you is this very significant green volume node at the bottom of the chart. When these volume nodes tower over all the previous volume bars, it tells you where the conviction is, because this is largely retail investors and small investors. And when you get a great big green volume node, it suggests institutional interest getting in on this rare earth minerals play. Now, I see an absolute tremendous amount of support right between this $13 and $14. I see a ton of support there. So right now, this is a breakout move all the way up to 1620 with a back test of this general area. And so I'm just going to tell you right out of the gate that I do like USAR. I do like the story, but I don't love the current price. I'd love to get it here between $13 and $11.50. Now you can see that I've got a stop loss on $13 because if price breaks back beneath $13 right now, it would mean more or less a bearish turn for price action. However, I think that based on this volume node, buyers would come back in and defend this level. They would defend this level for another leg higher. The ultimate ideal buy-in price is this $11.50, yet it might not ever get reached. I can tell you right now that I'm going to be personally watching for a dip under $14 so I can begin to take some form of a position between this $13 and $11.50. Now, after that, I believe the ultimate target is for this to move back up to this $19.50 range. That is confirmed when the price moves back above $16.80. You're going to see it soar up to $19.50 very quickly, and then we're dealing with another neckline, and you know how those necklines are. Once they get retouched, it's very likely that we're going to come back and have to consolidate again at around $14 potentially before we go back and revisit the $20 neckline again. So there is another high risk, low float, small cap stock for you guys to be putting on your watch list that could have an explosive move. I want to remind you, you don't want to be bag holders for these. And what would make you a bag holder? It would be having no stop loss strategy. It would just mean to do a Hail Mary. You buy it, you walk away, you go back to your 9-to-5 job, and you hope that it's doing well. Then you come back and you pop open your trading app and you say, wow, this thing went all the way up to $20 when I wasn't paying attention, but then it came all the way back to $14. This is not going to be one that you can set and forget. If you want to play like that, I actually really love Pepsi. PEP. They're going to be reporting earnings. I love Pepsi right now for a set it and forget it play. I also like UNH. But if you want a hot trade that's moving quickly right now and you want to lock in some potential money, here's another small cap play for you guys. USAR. Put it on your watch list and let me know what you think. I love the underlining story. Rare earth is a hot topic right now, and it should be getting some eyes because of it. Let me know what you think about it. I'm going to leave it right there in the Stocks with Josh Discord this morning. We did live trading. We captured a couple small plays right out of the bat, and then we got a beautiful Apple play for right around 28 to 30%. It was a very nice trading morning. Lots of money made. Tesla was a perfect play on my A-plus trade setups. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I drop A-plus trade setups half an hour before the market opens, 5 days a week in my pro trading community called ChartGoat University. I've got classes in there. We live trade with you guys 5 days a week between me and my crown traders. We've got long-term trading. We've got small cap, like Stock Brother, who cleared 52K on IXHL this week. Definitely a lot going on. The name of the show is Stocks with Josh, and you can connect with me in my trading community at www.stockswithjosh.com. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Peace and blessings.